And now, weighing in out of the blue corner, Josh the Punk Thompson. 100%. And on the other mic, he weighs in from the red corner, Big John McCarthy.
Well, hello to everyone tuning in to the Weighing In podcast. It is my man, Josh Thompson, and me, John McCarthy, and we're going to talk about everything that happened this week. There was a ton of fights taking place in MMA. There was the World MMA Awards that went out. We'll talk about just a little bit in that. So many things going on, lots of controversy, lots of people that are supposedly really good at their job that aren't good at their job, but we got stuff to talk about, my man. What's happening?
Oh, man, I have a really fat, puffy face from all the traveling, all the salty food, and a little bit of whiskey this last week, and
see, that's why you just stay puffy. That's what I do. I stay puffy.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. I'm not going to argue that fact. Oh, man. We had a good week, though, John. I mean, the fights were good at Bellator. The UFC had some. I thought it had a good card up until the co-main and main, but we'll get into that. And it wasn't they weren't bad, but they didn't live up to the expectation. But there was some good fights on that card, though. But before we even get started and jump into all this stuff, let's go to WeighingInMerch.com, pick up some of our new apparel, which Big John is wearing.
Baby.
Look at that bad boy.
Let me tell you something.
Tell me.
This thing is about 10 pounds worth of hoodie. I love this thing, man. It is warm. It is heavy. It is nice. Quality. Thank you very much. I mean, I'm serious. Look, I am wearing your name, Josh the Punk Thompson. That is an embarrassing thing for me to do, and I'm glad you're down by my belly.
Yeah, like you remind me of the Scottish guy on Austin Powers.
Get in my belly.
That's all. All of this stuff is available at WeighingInMerch.com, and pick up some of their stuff, man. We got shirts. We've got hoodies. I don't know.
Hats. Very nice.
Hats.
Don't say you say we have a sweater. I swear to God, the next time we see you, I'm gonna smack you.
Sweatshirts.
There you go, sweatshirts. Very nice.
There we go. All right, but yeah, some new designs, everything like that. And John says about 10 pounds worth of sweater. Well, John, that's why they call him Big John. So they need about 10 pounds worth of sweater.
That much to cover it. There you go.
Podcast Dave decided he would match him too, but he's not pulling up his screen because he doesn't want to be compared to Big John. So he decided to turn his screen off. We love Podcast Dave.
Dave and I called each other. What are you wearing? Oh, I'm going to wear this. Oh, I'm going to wear that too.
Yeah. Couples, they do that.
Yep, that's right.
Very cute.
We just like to rep for our show, you know.
That's it. We rep for our show. You're trying to make money.
I didn't get any.
No. You're trying bullshit. You're trying to make money.
No, I didn't get any.
So we're just supposed to send you stuff?
This is last
year's.
Like
you're somebody?
This is last year's model.
This is last year's.
Oh, man. Yep. Go to WeighingInMerch.com, pick up some of our merch, and then post pictures of yourself wearing it, man. And we'd love to retweet you, repost you, all those things. I appreciate you guys for supporting our podcast. Now,
supporting the cause.
Before we get started, we're going to start off with UFC 282 in Ankalaev versus Jan Blachowicz. Let's go ahead and go to mybookie.ag. Use our promo code weighing in. Go to mybookie.ag. Use our promo code weighing in. Hopefully you guys made a little bit extra cash after the breakdowns we did last week. And if you didn't, I'm sorry. We apologize. But we were pretty much on track. I mean, we thought we were the Topuria and Bryce Mitchell one. I was a little off on. Could have been a toss-up fight on it. Yeah, Topuria's good. He showed out. He's
just good. He's good.
All right.
He's good everywhere.
Hi, everyone. Big John McCarthy here. I just want to take a moment of your time to talk about your investment future. Look, a lot of people invest in the stock market. They invest in cryptocurrency. And right now, that's a horrible investment. It has been crashing. You've seen what's been going on. Legacy Precious Metals is a company that I have started to work with. I believe in precious metals. Gold and silver have continuously held their value. And Legacy Precious Metals will walk you through the entire process of changing anything you have over into precious metals so you can be confident for your future. Look, if you want to have the precious metals sent to you, they will send them directly to you. Or if you want them to set up a retirement account, they will put all of those metals into your retirement account. They just sent me this 5-ounce pure silver medal with the Tuskegee Airman in the back. It's beautiful to look at. It's 5 ounces of weight. That's more than a single MMA glove. That's a big, heavy coin. If you want to be secure in your future, I want you to call Legacy Precious Metals. The number for you to call is 866-912-6601. Call them now and start looking towards your future.
Well, let's go ahead and get started. Let's start with the main event, John. Let's
go.
Let's jump right into this
Because
main
we
event.
definitely didn't get this right.
No.
Neither did anybody else.
No.
But,
No. It was. I was not impressed with the performance. I was impressed with Jan Blachowicz up until the takedown started happening
yeah.
and the crushing of the space by Ankalaev, which I understand. He had to make it kind of a
He made
wrestling
an
match.
adjustment.
Yeah.
He made
He
an
had to
adjustment.
crush.
That's good.
He had to fight him in a phone booth against the fence. And if he couldn't fight him in the phone booth against the fence, he tried to get the takedown. He got on top and just controlled the position to really slow Jan's attacks down, whether it was the legs or with the boxing. He looked good. Jan looked really good. I was very impressed. But until he can learn to stop a takedown, we're going to keep seeing this, especially with a lot of these 205 pounders that are coming up. Have a little bit of wrestling, have a little bit of takedown defense, and don't always have to strike. So they're getting a little bit more well-rounded as we come along. But this overall, what was your thoughts on the fight?
I actually, I know a lot of people were complaining. I know Dana complained, said it was horrible. I didn't think it was bad. I actually, the fact that Jan stuck with a game plan, went after that low calf kick, and was effective with it. And he wasn't only effective on one leg, he was effective on both. And at one point, you got to admit, in the third round, you're watching that fight and you're going, oh my God, he's going to win this off of that low calf kick. Did you not?
Well, it wasn't really a low calf kick. It was more of like a shin bone to shin bone, kind of like bone. And I don't know if you had those. Have you ever done that before, John?
It's horrible.
They're disgusting.
Fucking horrible.
It's a severe like bone bruise, and he's gonna have some pain for a while. And if you don't know what a bone bruise is just a bunch of little tiny micro fractures in your bone, and you could see that it was black and blue in between round 2 and 3. It was starting to turn black and blue. So I know he was going through a lot of pain. I mean, I've had that happen to me with shin guards on, and it still happened. Yes.
Shin guards?
Yeah.
Who the hell kicked you with a shin guard and fucking
Your fucking
bruised
boy
your
Luke
fucking chin?
Rockhold, man.
Oh,
Your boy Luke
shit.
Rockhold. That guy kicks like a donkey. Yeah, but that's exactly what it was, man. It was one of those painful. Every time you touched it, whether it was your
That's
finger,
the
if a
only-
toe
you
hit
just
it.
touch it after. I mean, you're talking
Yeah.
2 weeks later and you touch it and it's like, damn.
But then when he went to switching his stance, Jan started tearing up on the other side on the calf kick. And so that had started to create more damage. Then he had to start fighting more square stance because he didn't know which way to turn. He wanted to go southpaw. He wanted to go conventional. He just didn't know which way because both his legs were beat up. What Jan didn't do, though, was a couple of times where he kicked and Ankalaev was having a hard time putting weight on it. He didn't come in and start trying to get after it again. He kind of sat back and let him put his weight back down on his foot.
Yep.
He needed to be more aggressive. He needed to be,
I agree.
When the damage was done, he needed to really try to pressure him to get him out of there. Jan could have been on top of him. Also, too, if he would have followed him down to the ground, I think Jan's control from the top would have been fine in trying to control him down there. I think Ankalaev would have been hard to hold down once his shin started to feel better, or his legs started to feel better. It would have been hard to hold down, but then that's when you back away and let him up. There was no killer instinct in him at the moments where you could have said, hey, this fight could have been done in rounds 2 or 3.
Yeah, you could have gone out. I totally agree. And it was the one thing I would have liked to see, especially when you see Ankalaev, all of a sudden he's bouncing, trying to get some feeling back in his legs. You got to go after him. He can't move. If there's one thing that is the worst thing to be in a fight is an immobile object that cannot move, cannot turn, cannot change position with your body. You're a sitting duck. It's a horrible feeling to be like that. And he was in that at that moment. And Jan just like stood there and like, yeah, well, I'm doing good. And it's like, you are doing good. Go. Yeah. That was my only complaint. But I actually thought that Jan fought a good fight until it got to the point where Ankalaev said, I have to crush this space. I thought that was a great adjustment. I'm sitting there saying, quit being on the outside. He's killing you from the outside with that kick. Crush the space, make it to where he can't throw the kick, and take a chance with him on the inside. You have faster hands. And I thought that was a big difference, when they got into that. His hands got to Jan much quicker than Jan's got to him, and he was able to get into those positions where then he was going for the takedown. And on the last one, he just, flew in there to take him down, and Jan couldn't get up from him. And it was like, it was a definite fight. Well, let's be honest. There's a judge that thought Jan won that. Okay. Am I lying? It was a split draw. One judge thought that Ankalaev won it. One judge thought that Jan won it, and one went even, giving it a 10-8 round in the 5th round, because if he didn't give it a 10-8 round, Jan Blachowicz would have that belt right now. You think Jan Blachowicz won that fight?
It was close. I mean, you could have given rounds 1, 2, and 3.
I think one judge did.
Yeah.
One judge did.
It was. I mean, I would have given him probably rounds 1, 2, and 3. He probably would have won. But I don't know. I mean, one of those. If you're saying, I know it doesn't seem like one of them could have been a 10-8 round. I mean, you could have said the round that he was bouncing around, he had to switch stances, could have been a 10-8 round because Ankalaev had to bounce up and down on one side.
There's a judge that gave that round to Ankalaev.
I don't know.
There was some crazy judging going on, dude. And I normally like everybody there. I think they do a good job.
Ladies and gentlemen, John is about to go hard in the paint in the next fight. I'm going to give you guys a quick little rant warning.
Quick rant.
Let me give you quick little rant warning. Don't you lie.
No rant. I have no rant.
You want me to go first on this whole
Sure,
thing so you can get it all out of the way in one fair swoop?
I don't want a fair swoop.
Paddy Pimblett versus Jared Gordon.
No fucking way Paddy Pimblett won that fight.
I just wasn't impressed, man. Look, I'm not going to say that I just said I wasn't impressed. What I should say is I'm a fan of Paddy Pimblett. I think he's young still. He's got a lot of potential. He's definitely marketable. The hair, I love the wig thing that they were doing at the fights. Great idea. But my thing is he has a long way to go. I didn't realize it until this fight. I thought in the first couple fights of his career in the UFC that he was just trying to make adjustments. It's all the attention. This fight really showed me that he's got a lot of work to do. And let me just tell you guys this. When people want to talk about how out of shape he gets or how big he gets in between fights, if you're getting that big, 9 times out of 10, you're not really working on your craft. You're not training as much as you should be to try and improve yourself. I haven't seen any improvements since he came into the UFC. Not one. Not one. He still strikes with his chin in the air, way in the air. He found out last night he has no defense for the left hook. His takedown defense is not on par for the guys at 155 pounds. His submission game is good, but it's not great, guys. I'm not going to sit here and blow sunshine up your ass. It's not great. His cardio last night also lacked. He got tired in the midway through the second and into the third. That's why the takedowns and the pressure and all that stuff. He was the bigger guy, not by a little bit, but by a lot.
A lot.
And he was not able to get his back off the fence. I think he's a phenomenal. I think he has the potential.
Don't say that. Don't say that. You just said, I think he's a phenomenal. No, he's not.
No, I said, I think he has the potential. I had to readjust that. I think he has the potential to be a phenomenal fighter. I don't know. I think the verdict's still way too soon to say, because if you're getting that far out of shape, and I haven't seen any improvements, John, since he's come into the UFC. Not one. Not one. The one thing I can say about him is that he's a professional, is that he makes weight. He makes weight. For someone who gets that far out of shape, he makes weight. And he fights hard. Those are the two things.
And you got to give him, I'm going to be honest, he's got a good chin, because his chin is up in the air a lot of the times he's getting hit, and he takes it. He got stung a couple of times in that fight, and he takes it well, and he comes back fighting. And so he's tough. I'm not going to say anything about he's a fighter. He's got it in him, but he's got so many holes that he needs to fix before he fights top level guys, or else he's gonna get murked. I'm just being honest, and I like the whole personality thing. I think he has fun, and that's good. It's supposed to be fun. I look at this fight though, and you're gonna get all these people are gonna say, "Oh, the UFC, they wanted it that way." The UFC didn't do anything with the judges.
They don't care, you guys.
Judges, exactly. They're set up to where they don't care who wins. In the end, they know which direction they're going to go, and they know what they're going to do, whether that person wins or loses. But, this was, the athletic commission picked the judges and stuff. My son was one of the judges, and he asked me, and I said, "Oh, you got that wrong. I thought Jared Gordon won 29-28. First round in that fight, Jared Gordon hit Paddy Pimblett with a left hook like it was a magnet. He hit him over and over and over again, and he stung him, and you could see it. Now, Paddy had his things, but I think you came up with the actual right, and this can happen when you're a judge sitting there. You're getting the crowd responding every time Paddy does something, because truthfully, Paddy did not punch as many times as Jared Gordon. He didn't land as much as Jared Gordon, and the shots that he landed were not as good as what Jared Gordon landed. But when you get the crowd reaction, and that's what you're hearing, it kind of, you're looking and you're trying to say, but there's times when you're not seeing that angle, but you're hearing the reaction of the crowd, and it's an influencer. And I think they got influenced by what the crowd was into, as far as the crowd was there, wanted Paddy to win, and they're reacting to everything he's doing. Jared Gordon won that first round. He won the third round. I give Paddy Pimblett the second round. I thought Paddy won the second round. But if you go back and you watch that fight, that first round, which a lot of people said really close, not really that close. I mean, it was, not like, oh, one guy ran over the other, but it's pretty clear Jared Gordon should have won that round. Paddy started off good. Jared finished it off in the end, basically. But I look at it and I feel the same way. And, we've talked about Paddy before. I think he's fun. I think he's a tough guy. I take nothing away from him, the whole hair bit and everything like that. He's professional. He comes in, he makes, the weight he's supposed to, and he fights. He went out there and he fought. But it's one of those, like you said, when you're getting that heavy, it's telling me you're not putting in the training that you need to improve, because, son, take it from an old man. You need to improve. There's a lot of holes there that a really good fighter, and look, I like Jared Gordon as a fighter. He's a good guy, personally like him, but he's not the top of the food chain. There's some, there's a lot of guys above him that matter. They're licking their chops waiting for you. And look, there's a guy at 145 that you got into it with at the media day. That man will fucking murk you. He will make you look like you are. And right now, a fairly average fighter that has fans, they put you in a co-main. You're not ready for the co-main, son. Not yet. Sorry.
Dana, of course, would like to see Paddy win, but Dana
Sure.
also doesn't care, because if you guys were listening to a little bit of the broadcast last night, DC has said it. Look, the UFC's, we've said it a bunch of times on here, is that the UFC, their PR machine does a damn good job. They can make anyone a star.
Yeah.
And what they do is they pick and choose.
Not anyone,
And
but
it's
as
pretty
long as
close,
you're not
John.
an idiot. As
Yeah,
long as you're
as long
not
as
an
you're-
idiot. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but he says all the right things. He does all the right things in terms of communication, mental awareness, talking about this person, that person, in terms of helping others, doing charities and events. That's what you want from, if you're the UFC, you're like, hell yeah, I can use that as marketing. Hell yeah. And he does all those things. And they're going to, of course, they've put quite a bit of money in to help propping him up and doing, and build him into a star. But he didn't live up to that portion of his end of the deal, though, last night. It wasn't a great performance by him. He showed he had a lot of holes. I hope he goes back to the drawing board and he starts fixing some of these holes, because, like I said, I could count maybe on one hand how many straight punches he threw last night. Not like almost none of. They were all loopy. They were just all. It was. I just want to see him do better because I know he can do better. When you see him, his athleticism, his ability to take a shot and deliver shots is there. But
it is.
I think what happens is when fighters come from being a star in the lower organization, whether it's Conor, whether it's Patty, whatever it is, and they've been champion there, they think that every time they hit someone that they're going to go away.
Yeah.
Not in this organization, not in the bigger organizations. These guys are there for a reason.
Yeah.
Because they can take a shot, they can deliver a shot. They're just as tough as you. I think that's a huge misconception of like, oh, once I come here and I arrive here, like, I'm ready and these guys can't handle me. And no. These guys are here because
they can
do all the things that you can do. And Jared Gordon last night, he could not miss with that left hook. Like you said, a magnet. It was like bink, bink,
Yep.
bink. I was like, oh shit. And then finally Patty, I think in the second round, started fighting, putting his hand just right there next to his face. He's like, okay, like don't hit me anymore right here. Just I don't know. He's got a lot of improvements to make. And John, it's hard when you're in between fights and you're blowing up to 200 pounds. That you're just not getting better.
Well, it's hard to get better.
Yeah.
What you're saying is it's hard to get better if in between fights you're blowing up to 200 pounds, 210 pounds. Because there's no way that you're putting in the work necessary at that moment to get better. Training camps are not to make you better. They're to prepare you for a fight.
Yep.
You get better in between. You learn in between. That's why when guys are on that streak where they're doing fight after fight after fight, you go, hey, that's great. And they're making money, but you're not really getting any better because you can't.
You're always in camp.
That's it.
Yeah. What you should look at is him being up to 200 pounds, his body, the moves and the techniques and the speed and all those things that he's trying to get better at, it won't be the same as if his body was in shape or kind of like around the same body style and same size. The things that his body can do at 200 pounds, his body can't do the same things it can do at 165, 170. Just the speed of attacking the arm bars, the speed of attacking certain techniques. He tried that little kind of like ninja choke, but it was like a far side, like rear naked choke. He probably can get away with that, against the smaller guys at the gym when he's, 185. Maybe he thought it was going to work. It ain't going to work. Not when you're in shape. Not when the other guy's in shape. Not when the other guy has a lot of fight in him. You also don't have the same squeeze, that you do when you're 185. You think you do, but the weight and the muscle and the body frame is a lot bigger at that weight. So you were thinking it was going to work. Well, it didn't work. Did you blow your arms up? There's all those things to take into consideration. And until he really learns that this thing's going to only go as far as he wants it to go. And I haven't seen the improvements. And I'm interested to see if Dana goes, let's give him someone else. Or because you can't go backwards now. You can't go backwards, John. I've said this I don't know how many years.
Here's the point. Look, he's a main card fighter now. From now on, really, if you're taking a look. They're building him. He's got to be on the main card. So the prelims are done. So when you look at the main card, you got to put him against someone that's real. You can't put him against, the guys that, he had been fighting up to this point and everything. And you just look and you go, man, there's so many. Josh, if you had a fighter and they signed to fight Patty, tell me as you're watching tape on him, you're not going boom, 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 boom. We can take advantage of this. We can take advantage of this. We're going to do this. It's there for you. You can see it.
John, there's not one area, and I just think there's not one area that he could have beat me in if I was younger.
No.
There's just not one.
No.
My cardio was better. I like him a lot, and I want him to succeed. I like everything he stands for. I like what he does. I just want to see him get better. He hasn't gotten better. Dave, pull up the lightweight rankings. I don't think that if I was to look at this, let's look down at the very bottom. He's Tony, maybe, because Tony is just older now. I mean, that's
Tony
about,
would no.
yeah.
Even Tony.
I would agree. I'm just throwing him because Tony's older. That's the only reason why I threw him there. But if I was if you look at that,
let's put Moicano against him. Really?
Oh,
Okay, there you go. So right there, and Moicano is 13. You take a look. Dan Hooker, because I know Dan Hooker said, "Hey, you don't want to put me against that guy."
no.
And I believe Dan Hooker's right. Even though Dan's got a lot of losses, that would not be a loss. Jalen Turner, that kid would starch frickin' Pimlet.
Absolutely. I like the tarantula.
Sarukian,
Come on.
This is what I'm saying. There's
Gamrot. You have Gamrot, RDA. You've got fucking Fazeev, Chandler, Dariush. I mean, it just obviously doesn't get any better as you go higher up. But I mean, if we look at the very bottom, and the only reason why I say maybe Tony is because Tony's just older. That's all. But I mean, I still think he's just way more skilled, even at his old age. You just got to avoid really getting popped. I think a hard one, but he still has a good chin. He can still take shots.
Yep.
I mean, that kick the channel at it, anyone would get knocked the fuck out by that thing. Anybody.
Yep.
I don't know, man.
We'll see.
He's got to get better. That's the biggest thing. He's got to get better.
I think, look, in all honesty, again, he walked out of there with a win that, man, he's lucky to walk out of there with it because.
Yeah. What did you think of his comments afterwards? He's like, "Oh, fight of the night, 50 G's," and I'm like,
50 G's.
I was like, "Ooh."
I wouldn't give him 50 cents for that performance. I'm just being honest. It wasn't impressive. Again, and I don't want to take anything from Jared Gordon. Jared Gordon's a good fighter, tough guy. I love him, but he's one of those guys that when you're looking and you're being honest, he's a gamer. I'll say that. He's durable. He doesn't give in, but he's not fast. He doesn't have a lot of power. His ground game is decent. His wrestling is decent, but he's not that explosive fighter that you look and you go, this is a fighter that, is going to give you a lot of problems. They didn't put Jared Gordon there to give Patty a lot of problems. And he gave him a lot of problems.
Yeah. No, I know. He should have been able to try to at least get him out of there or had him in trouble several times, but he never did. All right, next fight.
Santiago Ponzinibbio against Alex Morono. Man, I said, I think this is a harder fight for Ponzinibbio than Robbie Lawler.
Yeah.
And it's a different fight. First off, Robbie is a southpaw. Robbie doesn't have volume, especially now. He throws one or two and he waits, and then he'll throw one or two, but he's got one punch knockout power. He can definitely start you. But Ponzinibbio, by getting Morono, a guy that actually moves quite a bit, is on his toes a lot as he fights, and Morono's a good fighter. He doesn't look like anything. And people go off of, they're going to look at the cover and go, he's not. He's a good fighter. He's got very good stand-up. He throws good combinations. He actually has a hell of a ground game. And he was winning that fight, dude.
Yeah, he was.
He was winning that fight. It's a beautiful comeback by Ponzinibbio, and it was a good stoppage. I know that Morono, I guess complained in the beginning. No. You saw how he was, when we say the word, he got starched. That's what you're looking at when you see a guy who's stuck in a position with his face or something and can't move. They're starched. That's the whole meaning behind the word. And Morono got starched by him. It was a great comeback win by Ponzinibbio, but he was in trouble multiple times in that fight.
Yeah, no, he was. John, does Morono remind you of Jeremy Horn a little bit, like body wise?
Very much so.
The bald head, just kind of in the way he stands, a little bit, just the way, because Jeremy Horn used to do this too.
Oh yeah.
And he reminds me just like the body around the midsection doesn't look like much. Doesn't look like much, but
don't fuck with Gumby, dude.
Them dudes can fight.
Jeremy
Them
Horn
dudes
can
can
fight.
fight.
That's it.
It's like they're storing that little extra cardio around the midsection.
It's a gas tank.
Yeah. John's
They
got a
don't
big
get
one.
tired.
Yeah,
Damn
John's
straight,
got a
dude.
big one.
I'm like a fucking F-350 truck, dude. Big old tank.
But I got to be honest. I'm going to say the same thing that you were saying. Like, oh, maybe doesn't look like much. That guy can fight. Alex Morano can fight. He fought his ass off, 5 days notice.
Yep.
Against someone who had a full camp and was ready to fight, and it showed in the last little bit is that he was starting to get hit with some shots. Alex
He
Morano
got a little
was
tired.
because got a little tired. Defense wasn't on point. His movement stopped a little bit. It wasn't as active as it was early in the fight.
That's right.
I mean, he looked good though, man. I mean, like no.
But if he had a full camp,
oh,
okay, let's be honest, and this is where people need to understand. Morano was winning that fight, and he was winning it by his movement, by creating angles, by being elusive at times when making Ponzinibbio overextend. And if he did not get tired, he wouldn't have made the mistakes, or he wouldn't have been in the positions that caught him where he was at. He would have been able to continue on. But when you get tired, you have to slow something down, and he had to slow it down, and that's when he got caught. But you got to give it up for him. I know he lost his win streak that he was on, but he didn't lose any ground, I believe, in the UFC's eyes or anything like that. I think they're very happy with the performance that he went out there and put on in trying to win the fight, and he gave Ponzinibbio everything that Santiago needed for that night.
great comeback. That's what I mean. I also think maybe the co-main and the main lacked because we had some good fights that were right before that.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. The opening three.
Yeah.
Come on, the opening three were fire for a while.
Yeah. I mean, even the last prelim was good.
Yeah.
With the young man.
We'll talk about him.
Yeah, Ponzinibbio, look, he did what he was supposed to do. He's supposed to keep staying in the fight up until the last second. The fight's never over. It's never over, and he just showed it.
Yep.
And Morano just made a mistake. It could have been fatigue. Look, anybody can get caught. Even if he wasn't tired, anyone can get caught. So it was just one of those. He was able to catch him.
What?
Go away with the win. I'm sure he probably got some sort of performance of the night or some sort of knockout of the night or something. I mean, it shocked everyone, I think. But it was an overall good fight, though. It was a fun, entertaining fight.
No, it was an entertaining fight all the way through.
Yeah. All right, next fight.
Duplessis against Darren Till. And that first round. Whoo! That was Darren Till took some damage in that. And I was like almost, I don't want to say in shock, but at the end of that, God bless DC. He goes, I think that might be a 10-8 round. You think? Okay. And then John Anik, my man, a guy I've sat with too many times, said, well, I don't know if it actually had all the, damage, duration, and dominance. I'm not too sure about it. I don't think 10-8. It's like, have you lost your mind, John? No damage. Did you see his eye? Do you think his brain wasn't rattled throughout any of that? No damage. Okay, let's talk about dominance. Did he get dominant? I don't give a fuck if he got up at the end. Okay? He got the shit beat out of him. And thank God at least two of the judges were smart enough to say that was a 10-8 round. One of them didn't. And that's because, they're all so afraid to give a 10-8 round in Nevada now. Oh, my God. Take a look at the second round that Till actually did pretty good in. And you could say Till won it. Were they the same, Josh? Was the fight the same? After watching the first and second round, are you going to tell me that Darren Till is even with Duplessis at that point?
Well, of course I am, John. Of course I am. Calm down,
you're
Captain
the punk.
Obvious. Captain Obvious over here? No, obviously not.
I mean, come on. How does a judge not give that a goddamn 10-8? He did everything. He almost finished him. Fucking Mark Smith, the referee's fucking pooping out a peach pit. He's so tight about fucking wanting to stop it, and he's just waiting for that moment. And you're going to tell me, no, that wasn't a 10-8.
Did you think any of that warranted a stoppage? I didn't think any of it did.
No, I do not.
Okay.
I thought Mark Smith was right for letting it go on. I don't think it should have been stopped in there, but it was getting close at times.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. The reason why I was getting close is because fucking Mark Smith kept asking him to say something or show him something.
No,
It's
no,
like,
no,
look,
no,
and then,
no,
and then he
no,
poked
no,
his
no,
head up and got
that's
hit in the face.
Bullshit.
Yeah, it is.
Bullshit.
Thumbs
Bullshit.
up. What are you doing?
Bullshit.
Thumbs up. Look at the ref. So I was like, what the fuck?
That's on him.
That's on the fucking ref for making him.
No, it's not.
The fighter's trying to defend himself. Show me something. Shut up, okay? Before I punch you in the face, that fucking ref. I swear, man. I hate
First
when
off,
refs are like, "Show me something." I'm fucking
I
defending
never-
myself. I'll show you when I'm done.
I never say show me something. Never did it. In fact, in the back, I told you exactly. Hey,
Yeah.
and when I tell you move, it's telling you, hey, I need you to start
Yeah.
fighting back, start moving. You never have to respond to me in any fashion. Your response is to change what's occurring.
Mm-hmm. No, I get it. I get it. It was driving me crazy because Darren Till felt
Yeah.
the need to
Yes,
look
he
at the
did.
ref,
Yes,
to
he
look
did.
at the ref,
But that was a mistake on his part.
give him a thumbs up, or say something to him. What are you doing? You've
Getting
been
in
in
a
this.
conversation with him.
Yeah, like what are you doing? We're not here. Like you're not here to have a conversation. You're here to fight, and
And you're not going to be near as good trying to talk to him while this guy's beating the shit out of you.
I just didn't get it, man.
Not an easy thing to do, but you got to
mean-
take Duplessis did. I was not too sure if he was going to be able to recover. He did a nice job actually recovering through the second round, and in the third round, he was back. You know, he's awkward when you watch him fight. Little stiff, little awkward, but he's effective. He got a lot of the Keith Jardine in him, man.
John, he must
like-
be fucking cockstrong
Cockstrong.
because he just touched Darren Till's legs, and Darren Till looked like he got thrown through up in the air and fucking tossed on his head.
You
I'm
got
surprised.
okay. Think about it. I have never seen someone look like they have
Never
been
wrestled
in
a
the
day in their
UFC.
life.
Thank you.
I swear to
Been in
God.
the UFC, fought in championship fights, and now looks like has not wrestled ever. Ever. I
He
mean,
was getting
he
taken
got,
down with shit that I was like, how did you get
got-
taken down by that?
dude. He got bumped, and he was going down. I was like, what the hell?
It was so weird to me.
It was awkward, but
It was extremely weird to
like
see
you
somebody.
said, Duplessis has got to be like fucking.
It was
strong
weird to
like
see
bull.
him fight somebody that is good. He's got good top pressure. He's a good wrestler. But he's known for his stand up in Duplessis, and he couldn't even come close to stuffing takedowns. John,
I mean,
like he
unbelievable.
was stumbling over his own feet. Like it looked like he had never drilled a takedown defense in his life. I'm like, Darren Till, you were ranked like number 3 at one point.
Yeah. Khamzat
I was-
Chimaev had
I
to be
was-
watching that fight going,
What in the
what
hell?
the fuck?
I was
'Cause I-
shocked, man.
Crazy.
I was in such shock that he just had no answer for every time Duplessis shot a takedown. None.
None.
And then his answer was to and even when he was able to push the body all the way down to his ankle, he just stayed there and let Duplessis work his way back up on the single leg. I'm like, what are you doing? Get all the way away. He still has your ankle.
I know. That was all he needed.
Damn.
It was like, it was an awkward fight. It really was.
What do they do with
But-
him?
Man, I'll tell you what.
It doesn't sound like it doesn't seem like he's motivated enough to want to keep fighting.
Well, he also said that he thinks he tore his ACL. So that
I
might
saw
have had.
that.
You saw what he and you
When
know
he
the
folded
moment that it
backwards.
happened. Yeah,
Yeah.
when he folded backwards and stuff. So hopefully that didn't happen. If it does, well, he's out for another year now.
Damn.
And you just don't see Darren Till coming back and being the same fighter that he once was.
No. Mm-mm. Next fight.
Let's just be honest. I want to give it up for Bryce Mitchell in this. Taking on Topuria. You know what? He went after him. Bryce Mitchell he's a junkyard dog. I was very impressed with his tenaciousness and his ability at certain times. He was getting murked by heavy shots, and he kept coming after him, kept trying. And so he's just a tough dude. But look at Ilia Topuria is the real deal. This guy can fight. He is freaking solid in his wrestling. He is solid in the stand-up. He has power in his hands. He's got power in his kicks. He's got good submission game. He's the real deal, man. You know, I look at it as like, he's getting into multiple times he's kind of gotten into the verbal, sparring with certain fighters. And I'm like, dude, if you're a fighter, don't get into a fucking verbal war with that dude if you're going to end up fighting him, man. He's the real deal. He will be, in the top of the featherweight division. He's got that skill set.
Dave, can you pull up the featherweight division? Look, he did a lot of things that I was like, wow. All the takedowns he stuffed, everything that he did, and he didn't just stuff them, but he made him pay when he did stuff them. It was very impressive. There was one where he whizzered real hard. Do you remember the Dan Henderson knockout of somebody? Who did he knock out? He knocked somebody out. They shot in on him and he hit him with the whizzer and fucking face down, ass up. Fight was over. And it was in Pride. It was a long time ago, man. Obviously Pride. But let's see. If I'm looking at this division,
Dan Henderson.
Yeah. Yes. But I'm looking at this. Let's see. Topuria versus Sodiq Yusuff, Evolov, Bryce Mitchell is up there. He's going to be ranked up there in that Bryce Mitchell area. They're number 9, number 10, number 8, somewhere in there. I mean, him and Giga would be a great fight.
That's a bad fight for Giga.
But that'd be a great fight.
Nope. This is a guy that can stand with Giga for a while and take him down when he wants.
Yeah, that's true.
And on the ground, it's not close.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, I don't really see anybody that gives him a hard time, maybe up until you get to like
the Arnold Allen.
Calvin. Yeah, Arnold Allen, Josh Emmett. Josh Emmett might give him a little bit of a hard time because Josh can deliver the power. But Josh does get hit too.
Yes, he does.
He gets hit as well. So, oof, man.
I'm telling you, I said he's going to be in the top. He actually belongs, in my opinion. He's top 5. He's that good.
Ooh, John. Ooh.
He's top 5, dude.
I mean, you got to take one of those top 5 guys out of there, though. Who are you taking him out there? Josh Emmett? Who are you taking out? Arnold Allen?
Well, Josh
Brian
Emmett,
Ortega?
I hate to take Josh Emmett out because he's got a championship fight coming up.
Yeah.
Against Yair. But yeah, I'm telling you right now that Topuria, it was at 14. Mm-hmm. Mitchell was at 9. There's no one. If you take a look at the people that were ahead of Topuria, Edson Barbosa at 13. Mm-hmm. Who wins that fight? Topuria.
Yeah.
Dan Ige, who I love.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the skill set to beat him.
Sodiq
Yusuff, super explosive, very athletic. In my mind, Topuria wins that. Evolov.
What about Evolov?
That's the one that I say. If I look at anyone down there, Evolov is really good.
Yeah.
So that would be a great matchup.
I mean, he came out. He showed out. He looked good.
The Korean Zombie's at number 6 right now.
No,
and I love. What's that?
Korean Zombie doesn't beat him.
No, I love Jung, but he don't beat him.
Nope. But I'm interested to see who they match him up against next. I mean, do you let both those two ride? Like you have Evolov and you've got him. Do you let them kind of ride up in the rankings together up until they get to the top, or do you match them up now?
That's a good question. Yeah,
I don't know.
Like you said,
Evolov's undefeated as well, right? Evolov's I think 11-0 or something.
A little bit more than that.
Maybe 15. Might be 15.
15, 16-0.
Somewhere in there. Oh, we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see. But I mean, he's definitely in that top 10 now.
Oh yeah.
And then, I mean, Bryce Mitchell, though, you got to tip your hat to him, though, John. He did a great job. I mean, just came up short. You could tell. You could tell, though, that he got tired.
Yeah. Because he was trying so hard to get a hold of him and hold on to him. What are you going to do?
Stop doing so much press talking about flat Earth. That's what you should do. Spend more time at the track running.
Well, the track is flat. It's just in a circle.
Yeah. Got to start running, buddy. Get that running in. Rosas Jr. versus Perrin.
Well, like in seeing this fight as it was put together and stuff, I looked at Jay Perrin and I go, look, Jay Perrin is a tough guy. He's very similar to Jared Gordon. He's tough. He's got a good skill set, not real fast, not a ton of power in his shots. And so I looked and I said, well, it's kind of set up for Rojas to get a win here, to show this kid, he's a kid and stuff. He's got skills. Kid's good. That doesn't mean he's ready to go into the, upper echelon. Give him time.
No.
Give him time. But you take a look at 18, the second was, this kid was just before, the person that's right below him is, someone no one remembers, a guy named Sean Dougherty.
Mm-hmm.
And Sean Dougherty was in UFC 2, who fought Scott Morris. He was the very first fight I ever did in my reffing career, and he was 18 years old in 3 months, and you just look at the difference between Sean Dougherty and now Rojas Jr. and you go, yep, we've evolved. We've evolved a lot. But this kid's good.
Yeah, he's good. This is, like, for those people that are wondering, this should be a slow play.
Should be.
It should be. I'm hoping that we don't see him fight anyone near the top 15 until he hits about 22. And I know that's a long ways away.
I was going to say 4 years.
Yeah, I know it's a long ways away, but let's keep giving him guys that he can develop his striking on, because he needs work in the striking area. I mean, he obviously he seems like he's strong. His body, the way he was able to flatten out Perrin when he got to the back, I was like, oh,
Yep.
oh wow. Once he got that other hook in and he was able to flatten him out, I was like, well, that was quick.
Yep.
That was quick. And so he's obviously got some strength. He's still young, got plenty of time, needs to work on his striking. He's got to get better. The difference that I see between him and, let's say, like a Paddy Pimblett is that he doesn't seem like he wants to do anything else but this.
Yeah.
Whereas Paddy's got his hands in a bunch of other things, which comes with being a little bit more popular. Yeah, I expect big things from this young man, as long as he stays on track and he stays focused. I was listening to the story that they were talking about how his friends, they don't think it's cool, or they're like, yeah, whatever, no big deal. And then he goes, why don't you fight Brock Lesnar? If the UFC really wanted to make you a star, they'd have you fight Brock Lesnar.
I mean, you look and you go, wow, you got some good friends, dude.
Dude, that is such a fucking kid thing to say. That's like some fucking podcast Dave would say. Swear to God. Go ahead. Let's see if you're any good, man. Fucking
let's
fight.
see you gotta go fight Brock Lesnar, man. Let's see how you do, man.
Yeah, you're not that tough. So
WWE, baby.
Yeah, so great. I'm excited for him. I'm happy for him.
Jairzinho Rozenstruik against Chris Daukaus. Okay, I put out a tweet. I gotta give credit to someone. Conan Silveira was someone who fought in the UFC long ago. Conan was the champion of extreme fighting at the time, Battlecade Extreme Fighting. He was their heavyweight champion until Maurice Smith knocked him out with a head kick. But man, I'll tell you what, that guy has been an American Top Team now since it opened.
Forever.
Since it opened. And he has turned into an outstanding coach. He is so good with his people now. You look at what he's doing, and he's great with heavyweight guys and getting them to understand exactly what they need to do with their specific style. He did that with Rozenstruik. This was a beautiful performance by Jairzinho. It was exactly what, when we talked about it, I said, look, he's got the power. He needs to go. Look at what Derek Lewis did. Go after Chris Daukaus. Put him in bad positions in the stand-up. Don't let him get on a roll and start, point fighting and touching you, because once he gets that flow and he gets that movement, he starts to feel good and he becomes a much more difficult fighter. Rozenstruik went out there, did not give him any time to breathe, put him out. He did this Jairzinho thing, man. He went after him and looked great.
Yeah, he's been known to have very lackluster fights.
Yes, because he waits.
Yep. But I'm sorry, man, John, I was never blessed with power. You know that. But if I had that kind of power, I'd be getting people out of there because I
You
don't
don't get paid by the minute.
exactly. You don't get paid by that minute unless I want to get in, get out as fast as I can, collect my check, move on to the next one.
Oh
If you
yeah.
have that kind of power, and he's got some pop too in terms of speed.
Oh, he's
when he
got
throws
fast
it.
hands.
Yeah, it just
Yeah.
doesn't for the last whatever fights, just wasn't putting it together. Like not just pulling the trigger, waiting for the other guy to go, and then sometimes out of range, and then guys start wrestling him and get him down and then beat him. It's like, okay. So good. I was glad to see him really come out and fight that way. Good job.
23 seconds, man. Douche. Goodbye. That's the kind of fight you go, that was good. Let's do another now.
Mm-hmm.
Edmund Shabazian took on Dalcha. I hate saying that. Lungiambula. Lungiambula. And that dude is put together like Hercules himself.
Mm-hmm.
He is a strong, big individual, and I thought Edmund did an absolutely beautiful job of fighting his fight, taking his time, touching him, making things start to work for him, brought in some knees, and when he hit that last knee, holy shit.
Yeah.
That was a hell of a shot that he took and then finished him off. And I don't know if people realize when in that last sequence, watch Dalcha as he goes for the shot and Edmund sprawls and puts him flat. Dude, his head and face hit that canvas and he was stung. You saw him in that starched position. Just that sprawl hurt him bad. And Edmund needed that for confidence. He's changed camps, which I thought was the right thing for him to do. He needed to get away from the people he had grown up with and start listening to some other people about maybe you can change this and do things a little different at times. This was a good move for him. It was a big win because they didn't give him an easy guy. We talked about that. I said, look at, Dalcha is strong. He's got heavy hands, man. He hits hard and he's hard to take down. And I thought Edmund really looked composed, looked good. This was the kind of fight he needed.
We sat on here last week and we said I thought Edmund should have wrestled a little bit more, which he threatened a couple little takedowns. They weren't great, but he threatened them. That's all you got to do. What I mean by when I say like they need to wrestle, I mean they need to put that in their opponent's mind. They can take them down if they leave themselves out of position. You don't always have to get the takedown. And I've said this a bunch of times about how when you shoot on a double leg, you run it to a single leg. You get to the fence. If you can't sit him and bounce him off the fence and then dump him on the pike, then get out or go to the body lock or go up to an over-under. It's not about hanging your head down there constantly trying to drive and get the takedowns like Khabib did. Khabib's different. He's just cut differently. Khabib is
different breed.
Yeah, different breed of wrestling, different ability to have someone hang on him like that. If you haven't wrestled your whole life like that, then you're gonna get tired. So that's never what I want to see out of fighters. And he threatened a couple times on the takedowns, but he let the hands go. He looked good. I was concerned he did take a couple big chops by Lungiambula or whatever. And
Lungiambula.
Yeah, and it was a good fight though. I didn't know that he switched camps because what I saw out of him is he looked good.
Yep.
Shabazian looked really good in terms of his tightness with his combinations. He looked relaxed. There was a lot at stake because we were talking here last time, I think, about how he needed to either think about rethink his career or maybe go back down to a lower level of fighting, get some wins, and then come back up.
Yep.
But what I saw out of him last night, he don't need to go anywhere. He's back.
He belongs there. He's just got to improve, and you got to fight smart, and he did.
Got to make some adjustments.
Yeah.
Got to make some adjustments. The hardest thing to do, John, because I thought about it for years, was potentially leaving the gym that you came up in, and
it's tough.
AK is one of my.
There's a comfort factor there.
And I never did leave, but I definitely thought about it a lot as fighters came and went, and people you train with all the time, and they left, and then other fighters came in, and it had nothing to do with the coaching. It just had to do with there was parts of my career I just didn't feel like it was getting what I needed, and I started going to other locations, and I'm like, I can get what I need here. But it just didn't feel like home. Yeah. So I never left. But that's a hard adjustment. So I tip my hat to him for making that adjustment because he saw the direction of which his career was going in, and he needed to do something. So good on him, man. Happy for him. Next fight.
The action man, Chris Curtis against Joaquin Buckley. I thought this was going to be a great fight. Actually, it was a good fight. It was entertaining. Buckley's got power. Curtis has got power. I thought that Curtis's wrestling would be the difference maker in this as far as he didn't really use it, though. He used the power. They both decided, we're going to stand and bang, and Joaquin got hit by a good shot. It put him down. Chris was able to come in and finish him off. I thought, the fight was exactly what you thought. It went through the first round. I think it was in the second round, somewhere in there, that Chris started to take it, a little bit. You could see that his shots were having a little bit more effect, but both guys did well throughout it until that last sequence when Chris puts him away. But that's a nice comeback win for Chris Curtis because in his last performance, he didn't throw, and this one he was.
He's good though. Chris Curtis is good. Joaquin Buckley is good.
Yeah.
It really just came down to who could capitalize on either the counters or imposing their will. And Joaquin Buckley was having some success with the kicks, and Curtis was just boxing.
Yep.
But then as the kicks started getting a little bit higher up and then started able to catch those kicks, that's when you started noticing that he was catching and countering off of that, which is very impressive, which led to the knockout. Good stuff, man. Chris Curtis is a dog, and he
is. He's fun to watch, though.
They both look undersized for the weight class.
Yeah, I agree.
They're both tweeners, that 175-ish, 180, they're just both tweeners. Joaquin Buckley's not a big guy.
Curtis used to fight. I mean, he fought 170 for a while.
Did he?
I'm trying to think. I think he fought 185 before, for a while, and then went to 170 because he fought Ray Bradakupa. PFL. Yep, right there. Boom. Ray Cooper the third. But
Interesting. I'm excited to see what he does. If he just got to keep getting better. Some days, he has great fights, and then some days, which is common, But to fight with the same aggression, to fight with the same cardio, the same output, all of those things make a big difference on how fast you rise up in the rankings.
Yep.
Next fight,
Billy Quarantillo, Billy Q versus Alexander the Great Hernandez. Man,
good fight.
Yep. I thought Alexander looked good coming down to 145. Normally was a 155-pound fighter, had some good fights at 155, but I thought that he looked, he always looks muscular and cut, but it didn't look like he cut too much. Looked like he had gas. The biggest problem, Billy Q is known for his gas tank and pushing the pace of a fight. It was, he got damaged a lot. He started the fight off fast, and once Billy was able to figure out some of what he was doing, the counters that he was hitting him with at times, beautifully done. I knew Billy from when he was on the Tough Show, and he was a young guy there, and really a good person. And man, I'm so happy to see him having the success that he's having because he deserves it. He's just a hard worker, and he's talented. He is a talented dude, man, and he is tough as fucking nails. To get that win, I'm not sure a whole lot of people were thinking that he was going to beat Alexander, and he beat him. Pretty handily.
It was a good fight.
It was.
There was a lot of back and forth, great combinations. They were throwing leather, man.
Especially in the first round, there was a lot of things going back and forth. But second round, Billy really started to take over.
But John, they were slinging it.
There
was never a moment where they weren't trying to take each other's head off, and it was a fun fight. I tuned in late. I didn't see the first fight and the second fight. I tuned in right when this fight was walking. And I was like, holy shit, let's go. It got me pumped. It got me pumped to watch the rest of the card. I was like, okay, I'm down.
And I'm telling you, the first two fights, fucking awesome. First fight, Cameron Saman against Steven Kozlow. Dude, there was some beautiful grappling going on in there. And it was Saman, who, from South Africa. This kid's got some kind of, there's something in the water in South Africa. Between him and Duplessis, there's something in the water, dude, because I'm telling you, that kid had some explosion to get out of positions. And Stephen Kozlow, you can see he is a good grappler. He'd get to the mount, that kid would turn him, boink, and the way he did it was all power, just boom, explosion. And you went, well, that was not a good idea to get there. And then Kozlow would work himself out. There was one illegal knee that, it hit him good that happened in the fight. They took a point, but it had an effect on him in the fight. But, I give it to Saman. He came on in that fight and just kept coming after him. And when he had him hurt, he finished him. And so that was a great fight. TJ Brown against Eric Silva. I had never seen Eric Silva fight. This guy came in, I can't remember where they said he was from, somewhere in South America there, or Central America. But he's got skills. He was tough. TJ fought a very controlled fight for him, because normally he gets into those brawling barn burners and stuff. Mm-hmm. But he was able to finish him off with the arm triangle, and it was a really fun fight to watch too. I thought, as the show was going on, it went through the entire prelims, and every one of the fights were good. Mm-hmm. And it's so funny when a lot of times all those fights were good. Then you went into the main card, and in the main card, the Bryce Mitchell-Topuria fight was great. I thought that the Till versus Duplessis was fun to watch, good fight. Yeah. And then the one on what was the middle one off of that? I can't remember, before the Paddy Pimblett. It was move this thing. Ponzinibbio. Fun fight.
What did you say, Dave? Couldn't even make out the words.
And this is what happens. You had this card, like you were saying, every fight was really a good fight.
Yeah.
And then you get the co-main and the main, and it's like, it's weird because you can sit there and have all those great fights, and if the main event is not this barn burner, people go, it was all right. Yeah. But if it was all terrible fights, but the main event it was great. It was great. Yeah. Everyone relies on that main event. But overall, really good card with some really good fights.
Have you ever been to South Africa, John?
Yes. Oh, South Africa, no. I'm sorry. I thought you meant South America, since I was just talking about that.
South Africa is probably one of the most beautiful places I've been to.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
It's one of the places I haven't been.
It's a long-ass flight. It took me about 32 hours to get there.
Ooh, that's another reason why I haven't been there.
I got to fly from the West Coast. So I flew from there to New York, which is about 6 hours, and then I had a 3-hour layover. Then flew from there to, I think it's called Jakarta. Jakarta? No, not Jakarta. Dakar. I think it's Dakar. It's like in northern Africa there. So we flew there. It was 11.
You got to go all the way down.
Yep. So it was 11 and a half hours was there. Then from there all the way down to Johannesburg, which was like another 14 hours. Jeez. Something like 13, 14 hours. Then a 4-hour layover there. And then from there to Cape Town, which is only about 2 hours, 2.5 hour flight. Yeah, it took a long time, man. I went with Trevor, and I stayed with him and his family for about a month. We were there. What a great time. It was fun. I've never in my life been anywhere in the world where I saw such beautiful women. Holy shit. They're all 5'9", 5'10" to 6'1", 6'2", crystal blue eyes with like bronze skin and blonde hair. Like blondish, kind of like brownish blondish hair. Just, I don't know. Maybe I was just there because I was there. I was actually there during the.
Maybe you were just in the right places too.
Yeah, I was in downtown. I was like in their little beachfront area there, but it was fucking awesome. But there was also a huge volleyball tournament thing going on, so maybe that's why all the women were 5'10".
Might be why all the women were a little taller and everything.
But I was there for a month, and they were there before the tournament started. They were there after the tournament was done. So it was pretty impressive. I mean, super, just like crystal blue eyes, like kind of scary looking, like almost like they were using a filter in real life. No shit. It was pretty impressive. And the wine there is good. The safaris were great. We had a great time, man. The water on the Atlantic side was really cold. The water on the Indian side was warm and murky and gross.
So what you're saying is you're jealous of Duplessis.
See, no one can make you understand what you're saying. You really got to stop mumbling.
I heard the Duplessis.
Did you?
I didn't hear the first part.
That was just straight out of Willy Wonka.
What did you say in the first part, Dave?
I said, so what you're saying is that you're jealous of Duplessis?
Jealous. Okay,
Yeah,
got
yes,
it.
yes.
Got it.
There you go. Do you remember in the movie Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory? He goes, the kid says something
No,
really
I'm
negative.
35 years old.
I
I
can't
don't
remember
watch
that.
kids'
There's a
shows.
new one that came out. You know that, right? You know
Johnny
that?
Depp.
Yeah, come on, buddy.
it's kinda
35. I'm 35 years old. Maybe you should act like it. All right. Let's get into the Bellator's card. Let's go. Start with the main event.
Bellator 289, Stotts versus Sabatello. There was so much talking going on before this. But the fight itself, I thought it was actually a good fight. I thought it was a close fight in a lot of ways. Sabatello was doing what he needed to do to try to get the win. Stotts stopping a lot of his takedown attempts, landing the better shots overall.
Did he stop a lot of them, John? Did he stop a lot of them?
Stopped a lot of them.
I think he got
Stopped
a lot of them, too.
He got a lot, but he stopped a lot. Look, you got to give it up for Sabatello as far as he's relentless. You take a look at the way he goes after a takedown at times, and it's like he doesn't come in and get a shot and then it doesn't. He reshoots and reshoots again, and the guy gets, and then he's diving and getting his, and you go, God damn, he's tenacious.
Yeah.
He's going after it. And, you take a look at the fight overall. Look, it was a close fight. In my opinion, Danny needs to figure out, like when he got his other wins, look at what you did with Jornel Lugo. Look at what you did with Ego. You weren't able to do it with Stotts. You were wrestling. And you were getting to positions where you're holding on to him. He's hitting you, and you're holding on because you're in the top position. You believe you're winning. You're not winning. You're holding on. You've got to get your hands in motion. If you're not going to either go for the submission, then you've got to go for the strikes so the judges are going to give you credit for the position that you're attaining. If you don't, you're not getting anything for the position. And I believe in Danny's mind, he was believing, well, because I'm getting the better position. He hit 3 cradles. Three, Josh. 3 cradle positions in that match. And you look and you go, that's a great thing for wrestling. I can put you on your back with it.
I know. I disagree with you on that, though. I use the cradle all the time to get themselves, put their back flat on the ground, and then you can establish that top position. So
Absolutely.
I use it all the time.
Hold on. No. I'm not saying anything about you use the cradle to get yourself where you can now open up and go for the submission or go for the strikes. But while you're holding the cradle, what are you doing?
Yeah, nothing.
You're holding. And so the cradle doesn't get you anything other than it gets you to the position. Now open up. And he wasn't able to do that. And that was the difference in the fight. You take a look, and there was so little as far as strikes from Sabatello in some positions that time goes by, and you're winning the wrestling, but it's more than wrestling. And he's stopping most of those wrestling maneuvers you're doing. And so it looks like you're getting stymied. You're not landing shots. And when you finally do get a position, you hold. You're sitting there holding position, seatbelt position. You have his back, and you did 0 submission attempts and 0 strikes. You're not going to win it.
Yeah, I looked at what happened earlier in the night with the Cody Law and Lencioni fight, and I was just thinking to myself, Danny was going to lose it based off of that. Now, I know that there were some other fights in the middle there that kind of went a little wanky, But this fight, I was really up in the air. I wouldn't have been mad if they would have given it to Danny Sabatello. I'm going to be honest. I wouldn't have been upset. I wouldn't have been mad. I would have been like, okay, I get it. I mean, that's how close to the fight it was. I do agree with you, though, John, is that he needs to be more active. You can't just hold the position and expect to get the win because you're on top. You've got to be doing damage, especially in that 5th round. Because he had the body lock, and he was he was grapevining the bottom leg, and Rafian's elbowing him in the side of the head and cut him, which I was super pissed off with the fucking ref, telling him you can't do those. No, you can do those techniques. Yes. I don't know what the hell you're stopping it for. like he was doing damage. It was to the side of the head. It wasn't to the back of the head.
No,
it wasn't a 12-6 elbow.
No, what happened was Danny's starting to bury his head and turn his head, and for a while it's legal. And as he continues to turn his head away, he's telling him, "Don't hit the back of the head." That's for Rafion to figure out. Okay, how do I adjust my elbow strike and go back to it? He should have.
Got it. But look, these two, they delivered on all aspects. They delivered on the fact that they promoted the fight very well.
Yep.
Okay. The trash talk, it also continued over into the cage. They continued all week. They left a little bit of meat on the bone in terms of they kind of left me wanting more. I want to see this fight again.
Yeah.
I know I'm not going to see it for a while if it does ever happen again, but I'm interested to see this fight again because Danny can make some adjustments. For everyone that hated on Danny, he sucks. He's just a wrestler. No. Bro, he had some good moments in that fight. He landed some good shots. I'm gonna have to go with Mike Brown saying his stand-up's better than people give him credit for. I talked to Johnny Evelyn, and who else was telling me? Somebody else was telling me his stand-up's pretty damn good. You know, it's not. He doesn't rely on it because he doesn't have to because he can wrestle the shit out of people.
Yep.
It lets you know how damn tenacious this guy is. He shot, didn't get it, popped back up, got on the front headlock, could he circle to the back. He did things to Rafion Stotts that no one's been able to do. And when I'm looking at this, I want to remind everyone, I'm going to go into the patchy mix thing too. Rafion Stotts was able to slowly dismantle Magomedov, who has a win over Peter Yan. Everyone used to think for a while Peter Yan was just the second coming. He's still a fantastic, fantastic fighter. And Aljo had his number. Okay, good stuff on Aljo, good stuff on Peter. But these guys are good, man. Rafion Stotts, Danny Sabatello. I mean, the tenaciousness of Danny and his wrestling, Rafion Stotts' athleticism, the way to stuff takedowns, make you pay. You know, and pot shot and land the combinations, throwing the head kicks, all of those things. Just phenomenal fight from both guys. And I saw some people going, "Oh yeah, he's just a wrestler. He doesn't like it was a boring fight." Well, I'm sorry, man. This fight was fucking really good. And like I said, when you have two guys that are getting after each other in the wrestling department, you know, like two little ferrets getting after it, changing up positions, a lot of Granby rolls, a lot of roll throughs, a lot of back takes, a lot of cradles to put their back flat to the mat. These are all high-level things. If you're not a high-level wrestler, you're losing this match. You're getting just destroyed on the bottom. Both of these guys, with Rafion being a two-division, two-time national champ, and then Danny Sabatello wrestling at Purdue, just showed the athleticism, the grinding. I'm got to be honest, man. I'm looking forward if they ever do fight again, in which they probably won't for at least another year or two. But no. These two are going to be at the top, man. These two are good. Really good.
They are good. And I thought it was a close fight. I think I had it even going into the last round.
I did too.
You know, I thought it was a 48-47, and I had Stotts winning. We had a judge going 50-45. The worst, if you're going to look at a championship fight, the worst judging as far as being off that far. We had a judge who went 50-45 for Danny Sabatello.
Crosby?
And you're looking, yeah. Amazing. He was also on the Jared Gordon-Patty Pimblett fight, so let's fly him to Vegas so he can screw up a UFC fight, too. I love that. I think that's fair. So,
why do they keep using him?
Hey, you have to talk to commissions. Yeah. Talk to jail.
I don't ruin fucking people's careers, man. It's annoying when you have someone who's consistently wrong. Consistently wrong. You know, Cecil Peoples used to get it wrong too. Not as much as this guy.
No.
Yep. But Cecil Peoples was ingrained in boxing. He would always favor the boxer. Crosby doesn't seem like he understands what the hell's going on. He just basically says, "Oh, maybe this guy did. Maybe this guy won." It's annoying, John. It's really annoying. I want to say a lot more, but I can't because
I'm not saying more. I'm just saying pretty bad. When you're that far off of what the other judges see, there's something wrong.
It's just annoying.
Liz Carmouche against Juliana Velasquez. This was a rematch for the championship fight. Liz had taken the title from Juliana in Hawaii. There was controversy over it and stuff, and she came out and proved, I'm not going to give it any controversy.
There's no controversy anymore.
But we talked about it, and it was, to me, it was clearly, apparent that Liz Carmouche was better on the ground than Juliana Velasquez, before this fight.
Mm-hmm.
And look, you have a clear and definitive advantage in a matchup with someone. Don't get into a stand-up battle with her, because in that area, she has a clear advantage over you. She was able in the first fight to land a lot of clean shots where you were not able to land those clean shots in the same fashion. Go to what is your strength. And God bless Liz Carmouche for going to what her strength was. She had said in the fighter meeting, I'm gonna do the same thing I did with Watanabe, and I was like, oh God, no.
Yeah.
I understand her after watching her. I understand what she meant, and what she meant was, I'm gonna get in her face, I'm gonna go pressure her, and I'm gonna take her down and be all over her, and she was. I thought she did an outstanding job of crushing that space. She is physically incredibly strong for a 125-pound woman. Obviously a little bit heavier going into the fight, but she is just, I was looking at the two of them when they were matched up, and I was like, look at the damn physiques on both of them. Look at the deltoids on Liz Carmouche.
I was a little jealous.
God damn, yes. Unbelievable, man. You're looking at them going, I bet she could fucking deadlift about what I can right now. I'm just like, God, she's so physically strong, and she used it. She did a couple of things in there that were slick, that actually required some strength for someone to actually do it, even though it was great technique. And it was, dude, she physically overpowered it. And then the arm bar she put up, you could see once she took her down, she got to mount, she goes to S mount, and you look and you go, she's going after that arm. You can see her in the setup. Maybe she she can go towards the triangle, but she's going to go after the arm. And she did it from the top position, and beautifully done. You could tell that arm was stuck that whole time. You go, man, that was just an outstanding performance. The best fight I've ever seen her fight, as far as smart, physically dominant, and just made a good fighter look average based upon put her in positions that I'm the fucking king here. And she was, and that's why she's the champ. Congratulations to Liz. She deserved it.
Yeah, Juliana, she got exposed a little bit on some of her weaknesses.
Yep.
Because she was on the national team for judo. Everyone was kind of afraid, or just been hearing the buzz that, she'll hip toss you, take you down, dominate the top. She's physically strong. Her stand-up was really good. She has a beautiful straight left. All of those things.
She does have that.
Yes, she does. But what she doesn't do very well is she doesn't fight going backwards very well. Not a lot of people do either. So before I rag on it,
that's true.
But she needs to work on that, on circling and throwing, and landing, be more accurate with your shots. And she put her back to the fence herself several times, and ended up leading the takedowns. There's that, and then off of her back, she needs to learn when to abandon the takedown defense and just fall into a good position. She didn't do that. She fell into mount, or almost into 3/4 mount twice. Yep. And the last time cost her the fight. And she just worked her way up on the legs. And then also, too, against not letting your opponent ever collapse your knees together and figure four the legs.
Boy.
That you can't allow that. If you haven't learned anything from watching my fights from a long time ago, Khabib's fights from just recently, that is one of the biggest weapons against the fence. Not a lot of guys use it.
Because once your feet are up in the air, you can't get up.
Yeah. Yep. And they're not trying to. People think, they're just at my ankles. No. You can't get them back. You can't get the legs back.
No, because you have your back on the cage.
Yeah.
There's nowhere for you to scoot your hips.
No.
You've got to actually turn off of the cage, which is doing what? Putting you in the position you don't want to be.
Yeah.
It's all working against you.
Yeah, Liz fought a very smart fight, and I had said at the desk, I said, all I had heard sounded like she was trying to justify the fact that, the fight should have been stopped the first time. As I'm like, the fight shouldn't have been stopped. I'm not going to agree with you on that. But I will agree that you went back to the drawing board. You redesigned what you had to do, and you came out and dominated. Good
Great
for
job.
you. Good for you.
Yep.
Congratulations to Liz Carmouche and Juliana. Just back to the drawing board. You know what, though? We're not done. You'll be back. That's how it goes. This is the fight game. Next fight.
Patchy Mix against Magomedov. This was the question of, did Magomedov decide to try to grapple with Patchy Mix? I thought that going into it, Magomed had the cleaner stand-up. He had a lot more spinning attacks, a lot of good things that he does in the stand-up, because he comes from there's like two camps from Dagestani fighters. There's the Zabit camp, does a lot of great, stand-up and things, and then there's the Khabib camp, the dominating, grappling and everything. And he comes from the Zabit camp, and he's really got some outstanding stand-up, weapons. But some of them you look and you go, I don't know if you want to turn your back with a spinning attack on Patchy Mix. Probably not a really good idea. And he didn't. He didn't do those attacks because he looked at it the same way. But, man, you got to be honest. You take a look. Patchy Mix looked good in this fight. We have watched him progress from being – he was a good fighter when he came in. He had the fight with Archuleta where he lost the championship fight after being up 2-0. He lost the last 3, and it was maturity. It was fight IQ. It was not being prepared the way you need to be prepared for a championship fight, because he didn't know. Now he knows, and now he's doing all the things that he should be doing to be that champion, and he has put himself now in the championship fight. And we kind of said it before. You and I were talking. You said you go, who do you think is the favorite? I said, I gotta say Patchy Mix is the favorite.
Yeah.
You said, yeah, that's what I think. I'm like, yeah. We hadn't said, we didn't talk about it before that, and it was like, right now, he's the most dangerous guy there is out there, and I mean, he might be the most dangerous guy out there.
In
A lot of people are going to complain. A lot of people are going to say
stuff. What are they going to complain about, John?
But all I can tell you is, look, I know who he trains with. And I know who doesn't want to train with him after training with him.
Yeah.
And they all know, dude, don't let Patchy Mix. Don't go on the ground with him. He's a different breed. And he now has that Jake Shields system. And this is you know what Jake was like, okay?
Absolutely.
Jake was a monster, but he wasn't a great athlete.
I grappled 4 years straight with Jake Shields.
Okay.
4 years straight I grappled with him.
And what was his system? Come on.
It was front headlock, pull you down on top of him if he couldn't shuck you down. He'd pull you down on top of him. He'd hook sweep you, get to the top position into the 3/4 mount. He'd clear his foot. He'd go to S mount, or he'd just go high mount and just pitter pat you until fucking you gave something up, and then he'd armbar you or turn your back and he'd choke you. It was the same shit every single time.
It's a very
ask Dan Henderson,
very
ask everybody.
simple, basic pattern and system that he used. And Patchy Mix has now taken that and he's improved it. He's basically, and the reason I'm saying he's improved it is not he's better at it than Jake was. He's more athletic than Jake. He has a bigger frame. It's just more
his
opportunities.
length of his body. Length of his body allows him to get that hook sweep a lot better.
Oh, man, is he good with it.
Yep. John, look, I posted some stuff on Twitter about how he's the best grappler probably in the sport right now. And I mean, there's some other guys that are in there, obviously, but you got Rodolfo Vieira, those things. But his jiu-jitsu doesn't always translate to MMA. We saw that when he lost to
first
Fluffy.
I'm going to tell you right now, when you say he's the best grappler in the sport, you're saying he's not the best grappler in the grappling arts, that he can go to ADCC and beat anyone. You're saying he's the best grappler as far as using his grappling in MMA. Yeah. Rodolfo Vieira is a phenomenal jiu-jitsu guy. He doesn't come close to Patchy Mix as far as being able to use his grappling in MMA.
He doesn't come close to Charles Oliveira either, just to be fair.
No.
He doesn't, and that's the thing. Like, you can be 10-time, 11-time, 13-time world champion. That doesn't mean shit, because if it doesn't translate to MMA, that's the sport we're talking about right now.
That's right.
It doesn't mean shit. Gordon Ryan, hands down the best grappler in the world.
No doubt about it.
Doesn't mean it's going to translate to MMA.
Doesn't mean he can do it in an MMA fight. Now, he could. I'm not saying he couldn't.
We won't know yet.
But, you can't say that because he is that grappler that, it's going to just transfer. It doesn't.
No.
Some guys it does, and some guys it doesn't.
And when I'm having this, when I posted these tweets about, whatever it is, and I've said this before on the podcast, I actually know that he is the best grappler at 135 pounds. Now, he'll have some problems with some fighters, obviously, and everyone's going to say, Aljo's better than him. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I don't come up here and just speak because I'm going to speak from my emotions and I want it to be this way. No. Fighters talk. We talk. People that train in these gyms talk. Trainers definitely talk between each other. Managers for sure the fuck talk between each other, because some managers manage both sides.
They lie. Managers
They manage between both sides. And managers don't lie to the majority of the time don't lie to us. When it comes to hey, what do you think of this guy? How good is he? Is he really legit? Is he is he having problems with the guy? But sometimes those managers manage both parties. So to know, in the gym talk, the fighter talk, the managers talk, promotions start to know. You want to know how all of this started with Cain Velasquez as well. Cain couldn't get fights on the smaller cards because fighters would walk in and they'd be like, "Hey, I'm gonna train at AK." Who is that guy? Well, that fighter that was visiting for a week saw Cain beating up Mike Kyle, Paul Bonatello, DC. He's taking these guys down, destroying them. Had zero fights, but was taking Mike Kyle down at will and dominating him. Taking down Paul Bonatello at will and dominating him. That's how buzz and words get around. Patchy Mix is no different. All the talk. Everyone's some fighters don't want to grapple with him anymore because they're
they don't want to train with him.
They don't want to train with him because he's so good on the ground. Frustrated. I got a fight coming up.
Ever. Learn what he knows and how he does it and how to stop it.
Some guys want to not kill their self-esteem going into fights. So they don't train with certain people. And then afterwards they may train with them in between fights, trying to figure it, but they don't want to kill their ego and their confidence in camp. We had several guys at AK that were the same way. So when I'm talking about him being the best grappler at 135 pounds in MMA, I'm pretty confident. I'm pretty confident that he is. Yeah. I'm pretty confident. And like I said, I've known Jake Schiltz for a long, long time. Long time. I've trained with him straight for 4 years and then broken up periodically for another 2.5, maybe even 3 years. He was one of my main grappling partners when I was coming up, when he was coming over to AK. He was there almost every day or every other day. He was there. He loved to come train at AK with all the guys that were there. He loved it because he had to deal with the wrestlers from Fitch and Koss and some other guys that were there. And, then he had to deal with Swick with the speed and the hands and all that stuff. I got to know his game very well. And no matter how well I knew it, it was still hard to beat. Still hard. It was very rare that I beat it. He was damn good. Damn good. Patchy Mix now is using that body style and that length of his and the ability to latch on. He has a little bit of that Nate Diaz body style for 135 pounds. And look at how Nate utilizes his guillotines, his arming guillotines, his front choke. That's exactly what you saw out of Patchy Mix this time. He gathered the legs of Magomedov. He went for the arming guillotine, couldn't get it quite. Magomed started to defend. He went for the guillotine first. Magomed started to defend, put the arm inside. He let it go and readjusted and then pushed on. What was the kid from The Ultimate Fighter? Cody something that used to have that where he'd push up into the back of the wrist. He was on The Ultimate Fighter.
Cody
McKenzie. He was the first guy to start doing that choke. Was that little sneaky where you push into the other side with the with the grip?
He got GSP in practice.
Did he really?
How do you do that? Oh yeah. Hey, he was good.
He was.
Again, certain guys have a technique that they're so good at.
Yeah. That
if you don't know going in and you just put your head in a normal place that normally you're safe, and they're able to. He caught when he's. You got to show me that.
Yep. It was impressive.
He was great with it.
It was impressive with it. And then people figured it out, and it was all downhill from there.
Yeah.
But Patchy Mix is the real deal, and I think right now he's the odds-on favorite to win this thing. And I know that Stotts has got to win over Magomed. I know that Stotts has got to win over Danny. He's gonna have to be able to stop Patchy from getting on his head.
Yep.
And he's gonna have. And here's the way he beat Juan Archuleta with the head kick. The way he beat certain guys, with the combinations. He's gonna have to reach and leave himself out of position because Stotts not a tall, long guy. He's gonna have to reach to hit Patchy in the head. He's gonna have to throw that head kick, which will potentially get you taken down, or you'll slip and fall if you try to make contact up that high. He catches it with his hand and lifts, and you lose your balance. There's so many things. Now he could beat up the calf. He could do a little bit of that Jan Blachowicz too, and kick the inside, on that bone. He could do all those things because when you're that tall, you're kind of skinny. And so you could have all those. You could have all those things, but Patchy Mix to me, John, he has really evolved after that Juan Archuleta lost. He's come into his own. The confidence. I don't know if it's his girlfriend that did it for him, but
a lot of it.
Seems really focused, and she's been. You can tell from the fighter meetings, the conversations with her, she's been his number one support mechanism, and it's really come through, I think, for him. And I'm happy for him, man, because he is nasty. He's nasty.
Yep. He's a savage.
Looking forward to seeing how he does in that.
All right, we had Dalton Rasta against Anthony Adams. Look, Dalton Rasta, he's a monster as far as just overall. He's got good stand-up, good wrestling. He's got a submission game. Anthony Adams is a problem for everyone in the fact that he's awkward. He's actually smooth in his awkwardness, which is it's a tough, egg to crack, man. It's not an easy thing. Dalton was trying to figure things out throughout the fight. It was a clean decision win, no doubt about it, but he was never able to get to the heavy shots that he was wanting to land. Anthony's very good at, being a defensive fighter and coming back at you. I enjoy watching Anthony Adams fight. I think he's fun to watch, but Dalton definitely deserved the win on that one.
You know what I saw though, John, was that Anthony Adams, slick little footwork, switches stances very well.
Boy, a lot.
Never loads up.
Nope.
And that's what makes him hard to fight. Is when you have someone that doesn't load up. Their tell is when they load, when they sit back on their back foot, or when they bring their hand away from their face. That's called loading up. Well, he doesn't do that. He just goes pop, 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 and just touches you. It's enough to frustrate you. It's just like boom, boom, and everywhere you move, he switches and then he cuts the cage off. I didn't give him as much credit as he deserved coming in this fight. He deserves a lot of credit. The kid's good. He was very impressive, and he had a long layoff too. Coming back and looking the way he looked was impressive.
I really thought going into it, that especially when you watch Dalton against Romero Cotton, who is super strong, has power, and Dalton walked through a lot of Romero's shots. And I was like, Anthony doesn't have enough power to make Dalton respect him. And I was right. He doesn't have enough power, but he was awkward enough to where Dalton wasn't sure where things were coming from, because he doesn't just, he doesn't load up, he doesn't hit hard, but he does touch you. And when Dalton couldn't figure out where they were coming from, it slowed him down, and that gives credit to the fighter that Anthony Adams is. Like it was a loss for Anthony, but good win for Dalton. But I look forward to seeing Adams again. He's a good fighter.
This was the night of the underdogs. I mean, outside of Adams was the underdogs. I know that, but I mean, a lot of the underdogs ended up winning. On this card.
Are you kidding? All the way down, and I think in the prelims, people in the blue corner, I think they won most of the fights.
Yeah, I think Kai won, but then Eccles and all these other guys, Lencion, they're all underdogs. Jalil Wills, underdog. Joanny, underdog. So, Lara Joanny versus Denise Kilholtz. Denise just couldn't find the range. She was having a hard time in finding that range, and then Joanny just being able to come out and slang back with her, and then mixed in a little bit of the other stuff as well. This was a fun fight. Did you have it being a split though?
No. I looked at that fight, and I thought Denise Kielholtz won.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Joanna missed so
Yeah, she did.
often.
She
so
did.
often. You know, she landed some, but she was getting put off balance. She got put on her butt. Where did she knock Denise Kielholtz down? Look, they were slinging at times, but Denise was getting the cleaner shots in. Now, Joanna was tough, but I had it as a 29-28 for Kielholtz.
Got it. Good fight,
Kyle
though.
Crutchmer against Jaleel Willis. This was a surprise to me in that, well, what the surprise was for me is Jaleel Willis has come out and in his last 2 fights, people were able to take him down. And when they took him down, they were able to, submit him. And I looked at Crutchmer. He's a better wrestler. Now, I thought Jaleel Willis is better in the stand-up. But I thought if those guys could take Jaleel down, Crutchmer's going to end up getting there. He was never able to get Jaleel Willis to the ground.
When I saw Jaleel at the weigh-ins, I was like, holy shit. You've completely abandoned making 55.
Yes.
John, he's enormous right now.
Dude, he made Crutchmer look small at 170.
Yeah, he did.
He did.
And then on top of that, though, he goes, what I love, too, is he's like, and I'm all natural. He's like, make sure that everyone knows that. I'm all natural, man. This is nothing but hard work. He's like, I've been working on this for a while. He's like, and I feel really good. So,
well, he also changed up and went somewhere to get better.
He looked fantastic. That whole fight, he looked good.
He looked
the whole
great.
fight. He was quick on the takedown defense, and on top of the takedown defense, he was able to make space, make Kyle pay.
Yep.
Kyle's got to work on when you get into the over-under, looking on breaking the balance in terms of foot sweeps, tripping the leg. Even if you don't get the takedown, it's something to potentially get them to
make him have to realize,
make them react.
Yeah.
He just wasn't able to do it, and you could tell Kyle got in. Kyle's my boy, man. Trains at AKA. He just got into a groove of, okay, if I can't get you down, I'm just going to hang out here in the over-under. You can't do that.
Nope.
So it's upsetting. It's frustrating, but it's a lesson. Kyle's got 2 losses now, but it's and the first loss, I actually had him winning that fight. He shouldn't have lost that fight.
I had him winning that fight.
Yeah, I had him winning that
fight against Cameron.
Yep.
I had Kyle
Notching
winning that
off,
fight,
right?
but this
he
one
should have won.
Yeah, but this one
he lost. No, he definitely lost. Yeah, he didn't win 1 second of that fight.
Nope.
And it was a good performance by Jaleel Willis. Good for him. Lencioni versus Cody Law. This is another one of those fights that we talked about.
Sunshine.
Yeah, Sunshine. Just big. Just a big guy. And just so relaxed and casual about it.
Relax. Come on. You take a now I'm Chris. I kind of picked you. I said that you're the dark horse as far as fights. This is one you could definitely win. Mm-hmm. This is a good fight for you. Cody Law is a good wrestler. On the ground, I thought Chris could create problems for him. Chris, put your goddamn hands up. Don't put your hand behind your hip. The hell was that?
John, let him be. He's
relaxed. He was talking the whole time, man. Yeah. Which can actually it can have an effect on you. Yeah. And man, he was so relaxed, and you can see he kind of got to Cody Law a little bit with the talk. But this comes down to the same thing that we had in the main event. You can wrestle, but you got to do damage. When you got a guy who is a good submission fighter and he's either putting submissions on you or he's hitting you and you're holding, you got to realize if I'm holding, I'm losing. I've got to do damage. And that's what happened in this fight with Cody Law.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what it came down to. But I also talked to Lencioni after, and I said, hey, get up, dude. What are you doing? Like he was comfortable just holding that figure 4 body lock. If you're a young fighter and you guys are holding that figure, get rid of that trash. Get rid of it. It's garbage. He's like, yeah, but I could feel him going, oh, he's like, it was hurting him. Okay, but the judges don't care about that. Yeah. You're sucking the wind out of him. Yeah, it's not enough. It's not enough to really do anything. The guy's going to be able to hold his breath. Sure, maybe you're hurting him a little bit. He'll be fine. Okay, and it was one of those that could potentially cost you the fight to do something where you're just squeezing him. I used to do that shit to my little brother all the time. He was just fine. He's still just fine. Okay,
next thing you know, they're going to be doing the scissor lock with their legs straight up in the air. It's like That works against kids.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't work
Yep.
against fighters.
I
in
agree.
MMA.
I agree. Good win for Lencioni, though. But then let's talk about this guy right here.
Oh, you talk about coming in. It's funny because I watched Christian Eccles fight. He won both of his fight by submission. But the one thing that I saw when I watched him fight was, I go, dude, that dude is cock strong. He is just a bull. Now he throws when you in watching him when he threw a lot of winging shots, kind of brawling style. And that's what he did against Pat Downey. And that's why it worked, because, man, he hit him with an uppercut from hell. Pat Downey started that fight, gets that front headlock, and it's a front headlock position from wrestling. And he grabs hold of it. Dave Schultz used to use that thing to, turn guys onto their back all the time. He would actually choke them to the point they were unconscious and flip them on their back and get his pin. Pat Downey went after Christian Eccles. He squeezed so hard that you looked and you said, he's tired. He's breathing heavy. And as soon as he was breathing heavy and shots were coming at him, he resorted back to, I don't know how to fight yet.
Look, you can beat people up at the bars all you want. And people in your wrestling room, you can beat them up too, probably, because you can have a little bit more striking, or you're a bitch bigger than them. You can out-wrestle them, all those things. But like I said earlier about jiu-jitsu, doesn't matter how good you are in the ADCCs and all those things, when punches are being thrown in your face, it changes the way you train your jiu-jitsu, the way you apply your jiu-jitsu. Same thing goes for wrestling. As you start getting hit in the face, your wrestling is not the same type of wrestling. So what we saw was, I saw somebody that thought he was going to come in and just dominate.
Yep, walk through somebody.
And walk through somebody. When the choke and the front headlock didn't work, there was nowhere else to go.
There was that uh-oh moment. Mm-hmm. You can see it. And if you can see it and I can see it, your opponent can see it.
I think I said this on the... Did I say this on the Morning Combat show we did with them, or did I say it on our show? I said, what's the difference between Bo Nickel and Pat Downey?
Yeah, that was Morning Combat.
Yeah. Well, we just figured it out.
So, it's funny because you look and you say, like, Pat Downey has a ton of credentials from wrestling. And, the big difference, Bo Nickel, he's a better prospect, has to be. That's why Dan Lambert opened up a place up in College Station there. Bo Nickel has been training MMA for a long time. And Bo Nickel, I'm going to be honest when I say this, he's the more dedicated athlete than Pat Downey is.
Absolutely.
And that's the difference. When you say, what was the difference? If I was answering, Bo Nickel is a dedicated athlete. Pat Downey is an athlete.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't
it sad, though, John? Like, when you have somebody with that much potential, that much talent, that much ability.
How many guys have been there?
See it. Yeah, I know.
How many guys have you seen? Come on, Josh. How many people have you seen in the gym that nobody knows, that you look at and you go, holy shit, this dude is unbelievable, but they never make it. They never even get to it. They never even get to one fight at times. And you go, all that talent. You are so talented. You're so good. And you just throw it all away because your dedication or your interest lies somewhere else that is not productive, and you never become what you could have been.
Yeah. There was a kid that, I remember they did like a tap, I think Tap Out did a thing on him. His name was Matt Majors. He was out of AK. You remember him?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I know Matt Major. He made me famous.
Oh, why is that?
Jesus.
He whooped my ass. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. He, had a lot of talent, man. Came into AKA and was doing crazy shit, right? Flying knees at people and stuff. And we're like, hey, whoa. Like, we're not doing this. We're not doing this.
Sunshine.
Yeah. We're not doing this. But he was good. He was talented. But what a head case. Yeah. Just the guy that just never lived up to the potential that he could have had. I mean, yeah, I think, and then he just kind of disappeared. I know he was homeless for a while after all that, but he got a lot of press for a while and then just started going through some mental stuff and was never the same.
He did jail time for a bit after all that as well.
Jeez,
yeah.
Jeez.
Oh, yeah.
Shitty situation. Shitty situation. Kai Kamaka versus Kevin Bond. How do you say his name? Bohm?
Bame.
Yep. Kai looked good.
He looked really good.
He looked clean. He looked good. I'd like to have seen him get off a little earlier because he was having target practice earlier in the fight. Could have potentially have got him out of there a little bit sooner. But, man, Bame is tough.
Bame is a tough guy.
He's tough.
It's one of those ones I knew going into this fight. I looked and I go, look, Kai Kamaka's got the speed. He's really has an actual advantage in the wrestling and the grappling portion. Stand up, I think he's got it. But he's going to have it in his mind. Just keep touching him. Just keep touching him. Just keep touching him. Don't get frustrated because Bame is that guy that you look at, and I know this is not nice to say. He's that redheaded ginger that was at school that never, people would, make fun of and then, get in a fight and he never stopped and he ended up whipping their ass. That's Bame. He's just a tough dude. He took big shots. His legs got eaten up by Kai Kamaka.
Yeah.
That front leg of his got just torched. And Kai did a great job of just being relaxed, settling in, and I'm just going to keep going after you and touching you. He's showing, Kai has gotten into a couple of fights where you look at and you go, what in the hell are you doing, son? You're not fighting smart. And
sometimes didn't pull the trigger.
Yeah.
Was just coasting through. No. Yeah. What we saw was he needed to get those guys out of there because he has all the ability.
Yep, he does.
Got all the ability. So.
Yep.
All right.
Mike Lombardo, big knockout against Mark Lemiger. Looked good. Mike Lombardo he's a good fighter. Watching him in his first fight in Bellator, and now this is his second. He's the real deal. The guy can fight. You got to give him credit. Cass Bell got a very nice win against Jared Scoggins, but man, did not fight a smart fight in my opinion.
No.
He should have been taking that fight to the ground much sooner. You had an advantage there. You almost let someone take something from you.
Yeah. All right, well, that's going to wrap up our Bellator talk. Let's get into some news. Let's go podcast, Dave.
All right. Well, clearly a good weekend of fights because we are hitting the 1 hour 45-minute mark right here. So with that, John or Josh, do either of you guys want to touch on Cyborg's performance last night? I know that you may have missed it just due to the fact that UFC was on.
Yeah.
I can run a little bit of the fight here.
Yeah,
It's
please
not
Run
highlights.
this. I saw a little bit of this.
But I just figured I'd drop it in somewhere just so you can kind of get a feel for the action on Cyborg and Gabriel.
I mean,
this was Cyborg's second.
Yeah,
second
Cyborg just
fight.
doing what Cyborg does, just marching people down, popping the jab, and then trying to figure out how to throw the 1-2 down the pipe. I mean, she's a talented fighter. I know that her and I got into a little scuffle up over some stuff, and it's the bottom line is it's the weight class. It's not her. I have nothing. I obviously have nothing against her. I really like her. It's just the weight class. The weight class is disappearing. The PFL is pretty much getting rid of their 155. I mean, I don't know what they're gonna do if it's gonna be at 145.
They're going to 145.
Bellator's got three or four top girls at 145. The UFC just has one. That's Amanda. I don't even know if they even have that weight class anymore. So it's
they do.
So when
they have Amanda. The only reason they're keeping it is because of Amanda.
And my point is that I have nothing against Chris. I think she's a phenomenal fighter. She's a legend for sure. I mean, she's still doing it after all these years, and she is normally a sweet person. She normally is. I know she got a little Tiffany, and I don't know if it was her or her boy that sent some DMs to me talking trash. But hey, it is what it is, man. Take it like a man. It is what it is. Boxing might be her thing.
No, let's just be honest. Yeah, and I'm not saying that in a negative fashion as far as her ability. It's that she's not going to make near as much money. She's one of the few in MMA that has reached that point. She makes big money in MMA, and she's not going to get that kind of big money in boxing unless she fought someone like a Katie Taylor, and that they're at different weight classes. That's just not going to happen. So I look and it's like, I give her, nothing but credit for going and she's competed with the very best in kickboxing. She's competed with the very best in MMA. She has not competed with the very best in boxing, but she's going in there and she's putting on good performances. Gabby Holloway, very tough lady who, like, she's hard. No one gets rid of Gabby. That's just, she comes, she fights. She's got a hell of a chin. She'll take shots and she'll just stand there in front of you and just keep coming. So I figured it would go the distance. It ended up going the distance. She got a unanimous decision win. But, all of this is based upon, and see, this is the stuff we don't break these stories and the things that we know. But there's a reason right now why Chris is boxing. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to say what the reason is, but, it's not that she doesn't want to fight MMA. Just right now, she's got to wait till the end of the year before she starts fighting MMA. And that's coming. This is December. So she's going to come back to the world of MMA, but this was her way to stay busy and to maintain, her, just fight feel. She took on 2 boxing matches, and good for her. She got 2 wins. So she's she's a great fighter. She's a great person. I love her.
Okay, next.
All right. All
right. This one is now being confirmed by the UFC via Instagram that last night at the presser, Dana confirmed that the Brazil card will see Glover versus Jamahal Hill for the vacant light heavyweight title. So that is immediately
Excuse
following.
me, could you please just say that name one more time?
Nope.
I don't want to hear shit about saying that. Did you say Jamahal? Jamal.
Hey,
He said Jamahal.
I want to give that guy's name every letter of pronunciation. That guy deserves
every vowel.
He's now in
coming out.
place for the title shot.
Jamahal.
He deserves every letter in his name. Every letter in his name
Jamahal.
deserves pronunciation.
Jamahal Hill.
I just want to say, Jamal Hill, I apologize. I apologize for Podcast Dave that he cannot say your name correctly.
Well, I said it correctly. I pronounced every single letter and the word.
How do you say Glover's last name there? Come on, every letter, say it.
Teixeira.
You're killing me, Dave.
You're great, buddy. You're great.
I know how you say Glover Teixeira. Don't worry.
No, we know you know how to say it. Yeah, look, I think that's a fight where, let's just be honest. Glover can't stay in the stand-up with Jamahal Hill. He can't do it. Jamal Hill's got too much power in his hands. He's too fast. He's long. It's going to be tough for Glover to cover that distance. But if the fight hits the ground, Jamal Hill doesn't have a ground game to stay with Glover Teixeira. So
Can Glover get him down?
I don't know. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
It is the question of the day when you look at this fight. But after you had the Ankalaev versus Blachowicz fight, I understand. They were talking about you got to redo it. I don't know that you have to redo it, and I think Dana kind of looked at it the same way. It's like, well, am I going to redo it, or am I going to go in a different direction? I think I'm going to go in a different direction, and that's what he did. Good for him.
Yeah, Dana don't give a fuck. He's like, these guys are still in the back getting stitched up and putting ice on their shins, and fucking Dana's announcing the next title shot in their weight class they just fought for.
Yep.
Yeah, he don't give
got
a
a
shit.
draw in.
Yeah, he don't give a shit. He's like, I need a champion, man. Can't market these pay-per-views, all these pay-per-views without a champion. I need a champion.
Dude, that when they went to that damn draw, I was like, you and I both were like, oh, it's kind of like the old lightweight tournament.
The old lightweight tournament.
And Dana was not happy about that one either.
Nope. Pretty much got rid of the weight class after that. They were like, yeah. Fuck this weight class. All right, next.
All right, we'll probably wrap up in this one here. John wanted to give some praise to his boy, Mark Goddard here. So I'll let John jump in here.
Well, I was going to talk about Dana winning the leading man and green card girl of the year, Brittany Palmer. Congratulations, you won at the Fighters Only. Now you got to give it up for Mark Goddard. Ended up winning the referee of the year. He definitely deserves that. He has been fighting very well. That's a good looking shirt right there, baby. Look at Look at the mug on that.
Oh Lord.
You tried to age me on that, you fuck. That's just wrong. I didn't have that much gray hair back when I actually did that podcast. See, I'm gonna start coloring your shit in, man. I'm gonna make you look like fucking Bob Barker.
I've had this shirt for a while since you did the dentist photo. When I sent the picture to you of the dentist.
Yeah, but the dentist thing is real.
Yeah. This is
didn't
pretty
alter it.
close. This is pretty close.
You lie. Doesn't bother me in the least. I love it. I'm glad you got me on your chest, baby.
I know. Someone's got to carry you around.
While we're on that, real quick, John, you sent me a text earlier. I never saw it until actually we started recording, but you sent me a text with a video of like this little thing. Is that something you wanted to point out in the show?
Yeah, we're going to say something about that real quick because I was able to meet two guys here in Tennessee that do unbelievable work.
Yes.
For metal work as far as CNC machine work and stuff. And they made this for me, this weighing in plaque, which is right here. Wow. I didn't want to show anything until look how thick that sucker is. Boom. Look at that bad boy.
What she said.
Is fantastic. Well, she could have. It's girthy. And so, I mean, I liked it so much that if you look back there on Josh's.
There it is, right below that belt.
That's heavy. I had them make Josh one too, and they actually personalized it to Josh the Punk Thompson. So I want to give a shout out to those guys. They're here in Tennessee. Josh, I gave you the Instagram. If people want to get something made for their Jeep or anything, they make some freaking phenomenal stuff.
Yeah. So the Instagram is PK Customs, but with the Z at the end. So it's PKCUSTOMZ 1. So PK Customs 1 on Instagram. Check them out. They do like side railings for Jeeps. They do what was it called? What is it? The
front rail
pulley in
for
the front
cable thing. Yep. I actually got one of those for my wife's Jeep.
They did our stuff, and then they do a bunch of different stuff, man. It's really cool. Check out their Instagram. Hit them up and see if there's something you want done for your Jeep, your truck, your just anything. They'll do anything. So it was pretty impressive, man, some of their stuff. So check them out. I want to thank them, too. Thank you so much for the Wayne and placard. I love it. And I'm glad I got some furniture that's strong enough to hold that thing up. It's pretty heavy. When I picked it up,
I said, hey, I got something coming for you. I said, it's a little heavy, though.
Yeah. It got delivered. And the whole box was like torn to shits because it was so heavy. It had padding and everything in it, but it was all torn up. So, but I opened it. I was like,
post office.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, baby. You didn't even see the personalization on the side until I told you.
I didn't see it at first. No, I didn't see it.
Awesome, man.
I want to thank
these guys. Do really quality work, though, man. So just want to give a shout out to them. If you were looking for something, man, look them up. They do great work.
And go to weighinmerch.com, pick up some of our merch, take a picture of yourself wearing it. There you go. John's got one on. Dave, why don't you show your pretty one there? You got a shirt on, right, Dave? Come on, Dave. Turn that camera on. Let's everyone show. Let's show everyone your hair. Oh, he's got a full head of hair this time, and he's got really bad Wi-Fi, so you can't really see.
Very bad. He's got the
move your mic out of the way. Let everyone see your shirt.
Texas Wi-Fi.
There it is. There it is.
Looking good.
You guys look at matching little twinsies. How cute twinsies. Did you guys sleep over each other's houses and then someone just rolled over and said, hey, you going to wear mine? Josh. John's like, I'm going to kill you, Josh.
You want me so close to you, you're wearing me on your chest, baby.
Yeah. Well, because, I have to tell my kids this is Santa. This is Santa. He's making his list right now. He's talking to the elves right now.
That's it. We're
all right, guys.
To the same damn age.
I love it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this show. Look, I came a little low energy today. I'm fucking tired. I've been tired.
I don't want to hear it.
Traveling. It was 4:30 when I got up, man. 5 a.m. for me to film here. You guys get to sleep in till 9 o'clock.
Excuse me.
I know you
Excuse
do.
me.
You,
I was up until 2 in the
were.
morning watching the fights.
you was not.
I was not.
I wasn't.
You was not.
You was not. All right, guys. We really enjoy your guys' support. Please hit that bell as well as the thumbs up and subscribe to our channel, man. And we've got some more of the content. Go to our descriptions down below, and there is a link to our shorts channel. Hit that, and we've got some special clips that'll be going there. And hopefully you guys enjoyed it. John, take us away, bud.
For everyone out there, we hope you enjoyed the fights like we did. Tune in for our next show because it's going to be incredible. I got some surprises, maybe. We will see you. Bye-bye.